And cute story, we were sitting in class, foster care training class, and our plan was we had 3 little ones at home. We'll just start out slow and foster one child. But Nick leaned over in the middle of class and wrote on my paper, we have bunk beds up in the attic. So
we put up bunk beds, and just a few weeks later we had 2 foster kids in the home and really never looked back. Before we were even married, we met families that were in a rough spot and struggling and really trying to make it. And we realized that we could love on their kids in the situation that we were in, and it was a very easy thing for us to do. And so fast forward, we got married and we had some biological kids, and then realized that we'd been blessed with an amazing home and we should open that home to kids that were in hard spots, in trouble, and parents that were struggling. We saw another couple walking out their lives and giving their lives, having children come into their home on a regular basis. And that couple had fostered over 200 kids, most of them infants. And they were in their 80s when we got to know them and meet them and spend time with them. And we watched them give their lives away. And you realize that they can do it.
they were able to love them and let them go year after year after year.
Loving on the kids is easy. The kids are kids. The bio families that we get a chance to love on, when we get a chance to connect and love on their biological families, whether it be mom or dad or grandma or grandpa, or the folks that are trying to care for them, that's where we've really seen the long-lasting relationships start that we've been able to love on over time.
When we have new kiddos into our home, we write a letter to the birth family. So I write a letter to mom and I write a letter to dad and grandparents. And when I meet them at court, I can give them the letter, and it's just a lot for them to take in at court. So they can take that letter home and process who we are. And
it's a great way to find people that are in need and be a part of their lives and be a positive influence that allows us to share the gospel in ways that you would not get a chance to share the gospel and to people that you would never have a chance to meet had you not had potentially their children in your home giving them care.
it's rewarding to see how hurt a family is when we first meet them.
And how they can heal over time and get their stuff straightened out in their lives. And in the situations where they're working their plan and they're doing what they need to do, and then the children can go back into that home, into a better place. And at the end of the book of Matthew, the Lord tells us to go and share His love to the utter ends of the earth. And what better way to do that and to meet somebody who's going to be in a spot where they're hurting, they need help, and they need support when somebody's lost their kids into a system that's very scary. And CPS is scary, and CPS is daunting even as foster parent. But you've got to go in knowing that the Lord is there with you and that you're in to battle and stand in the gap for a kid, and then love on those parents at the same time. In the area we live, there's right now 1,500 to 1,600 kids who need a foster home. There's 1,500 to 1,600 who need a home today.
Our phone rings almost daily with kiddos that need a place to go.
The need is so great, it'd be amazing if the problem and the situation was reversed, that there were too many foster homes and not enough kids. And so these older kids that are aging out, the 14, 15, 16-year-old kids that the state is not going to chase once they leave the home, go on to be in bad situations and have children that end up back in foster care. And so we have a situation where foster kids, literally as they age out, if there's not a support network, if there's not a situation where the church or there's a network to step up and to support those kids, they end up in a bad spot, and they end up having children that often end up back in foster care. The church could be part of being a solution for that today. That really would change the lives of thousands of kids just in the region we live in. but could impact so many more across the country and world. How am I going to love on these kids? How am I going to open my home to this kid knowing that it's a short-term relationship and that I'm going to have to give this kid up? And while you hate to think of life in terms of shortness, but really, even our own biological kids, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. So what better example of bringing a kid into the home, loving on them, investing in them, giving our lives away while hoping making an impact for the future in somebody that may not be in our home tomorrow.
We have had just shy of 70 kiddos stay with us over the last 10 years. Some have stayed 24 hours, and some have stayed year and a half, 2 years or so.
One of them stayed 8 years and changed.
Adoption doesn't count.
Well,
That's a whole new category. We've adopted 2 so far, and we're in the process of adopting a sibling group of 3. So that's 8 kiddos total. When we have a child hurting in our home, God never fails to show us specific ways to love on that child, to reach that child, to speak into that child's life.
the more we've been willing to risk or put out there our lives and give our lives up and put these kids first, the Lord has continued to bless us beyond our wildest imagination, whether it be with a home or a church network that's behind us, that's supporting us so that we can take the next step in our home that would have potentially not been possible, so that we could bring more kids into the home. The Lord has rewarded that and blessed that at every turn.
God always provides.
You're going to have to sit back down, sweet girl. This is Ren, by the way. And Ren is a sweet little peanut. She was tiny when she came home from the hospital.
Just like a bird.
Yep, itty bitty thing.
Yep.